does kind of get old.
Becomes great. I mean,
It does because it is a very good song. I absolutely love George Michael and Wham with all my heart.
You can also.
When I get requests for things like Baker Street, that's nice.
Oh my God! Please do.
Yeah. Somebody has to hum the tune. I play by ear and then by memory once I play the song. Oh, wait.
Oh, hey!
Alright, so technically I wasn't late to my own account. Hello, everybody! Yeah, come on, there's no seats. Yeah, thank you for coming. Well, this is Fursuiting on Stage 101. This is the first panel I've ever done, and thankfully I wasn't late to it. Whereas my stomach had other plans, which, we're here. Yeah, well, here's the other thing. Knowing that you can take an emergency bathroom break in your fursuit is a good thing to know, and how I know that? Alright, so, wait, are you trying to get some ASMR over here? Gotta project! Okay. Well, your saxophone does that for you. Correct. Well, I kind of wanted it up front a little bit. If I had if I brought my guitar. So, aside from the familiar faces that I know have been on stage before, how many of you guys, yes, my guys from Zephyr over here, they're actually going to be doing a show later tonight after my set at 6.
Go see it.
Go see them in main events, they are freaking amazing. How many of you guys have ever performed on stage before? Just a couple of you? That's fine, that's great. I wanted to do this panel just because I never had this kind of experience first couple times I ever, especially attended a con and then performed on stage. There's a lot more to it than you might think, even though, especially if you're nervous, there's a million things going on up here anyway. So I just wanted to do this panel to help someone get a kind of a leg up on the situation, especially concerning the extra added difficulties with performing in fursuit. Basically, a good way to start, if you can do it blindfolded, that's a good way. But I wouldn't say go to that extreme right off the bat. Right. Just to begin with, one of my cardinal rules, especially whenever I'm shooting, is know your limits. Because if you don't know your limits, you don't know if you're going to be walking through a doorway or face planting on the floor. So it all comes down to your personal level of not only comfort, but your not necessarily athletic level of your body, but knowing when you're about to give out and being able to take 15 minutes before that and be like, hey, I need a break. That's a very good point. Yeah, definitely. I feel like fursuiters often miss that. Not drinking much water during the day or that. Is this microphone working?
Yeah, it's got to be a little louder.
He's got a big suit.
Yeah.
Well, there's microphones in there, so ask.
I'll actually be covering something like that for a later topic, but that's a good example of.
This is one of the jokes I read.
Yes. Also, Under by Dragon is in Zephyr as well. I only talked to him online a couple times, but he's awesome. So go check him out with Zephyr tonight. Also, we have Adler the Eagle over here. You might recognize him from YouTube and Twitter. He's been posting a lot of really cool videos and animations and stuff like that. And I'm totally jealous.
I don't play an instrument. Well, I play trombone, but I don't know how much UWP is like I don't know how to do that one thing. But I have a lot of experience with being in other facets of my life, which will probably go over eventually.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. So now, a part of knowing your limits, it's definitely staying hydrated, it's staying rested. Like, I mean, I know at conventions everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna just stay up all night and drink, and then why do I have a headache next morning? Why did I wake up at 3 p.m.? Oh, the panels are already over? Crap, I guess I'll drink some more. But it's more than that. If you want to actually get serious about performing on stage, it's literally a lifestyle change. You'll have to probably change your diet, you'll have to change your sleeping habits. It takes a lot of dedication as far as practice time and preparation, stuff like that. But knowing your limits is the biggest thing that I've had, because you have to know when to call it quits. You have to know when you're on that brink of like, it's not worth the effort of pushing through when you're already like ready to pass out. You need to take that break. If you can't recognize when your body's telling you to stop, then maybe you should rethink your thinking.
No, it's very important.
Yes, yes.
Are you performing tonight?
Yes I am actually.
Did you ever watch the Levi Band?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Let's see. Okay, so aside from knowing your limits, that's the biggest thing. Like everything that we'll be basically going over is part of knowing your limits.
I've got a good example for that.
Sure, like go ahead.
A couple of years ago, I was at Ampercon, my first Stanford. It was probably Viking Invasion.
Viking Invasion.
And I wanted to fursuit in the parade, but I also wanted to play my saxophone. And the only reason I decided to do it was because I knew I had marching band experience. If I had not had that marching band experience and know exactly when I should stop playing and march for a little bit, take my breath, take a break, I would have been probably on a stretcher halfway through the parade. This is the first time that the parade went outside.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm used to really, really thick marching band outfits, a really tight hat, blazing lights, people.
Oh, by the way, did you introduce yourself?
I'm Tech the Skunk, and you probably recognize me from Ampercon. I've been walking around with the saxophone sometimes.
Hi, Ted.
Hi. I believe you're so friendly. So I'm just here as a special guest to my good friend.
Sure. It was great to have you. But definitely, like, when it comes to my music training, I only had like maybe 2 years of band in middle school, and then I realized I hated trumpet.
I played it for about a year. It's very loud. It's very loud.
I don't see you playing trumpet anymore, though.
I was on the French horn.
12-year-old me.
They'll tell you all about trumpet, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I kind of dropped out of band, that gave me like my first impression of like, okay, this is what it takes to actually practice and know a piece. But then I moved on to picking up guitar and stuff like that, and actually learning music that I liked helped. So that's half the battle, is making sure you find out what works for you as far as like your interests, what you want to be about, that kind of stuff. But like you're saying with band and marching practice, that kind of training is built right into the study. I know every school basically has their like marching groups and stuff like that, and they actually train you how to take breaths. They train you how to march in formation, and they train you to, know your limits.
Yep.
So that's exactly a good point to bring up.
I make it a personal rule that whenever I'm marching for a long parade, like the one at MFF, or not, the one here, excuse me, MCFC, and the one at Anthropon, I make it a point to drink at least 2 to 3 glasses of water right before the parade. Right before it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, they're lining up for the picture, I'm drinking those glasses of water then. Because I want to be hydrated to, 1, play my instrument, 2, I want to have that cool core inside my suit for when I'm walking, so I'm going to heat up really fast. And 3, it's always good to stay hydrated. That's the #1 rule they taught you at marching band camp.
Definitely. And,
Okay, number 2.
and well, that's the other thing is that like especially when it comes to hydration, what would you rather have? Would you rather feel like you have to use the bathroom for a little while, or pass out from heat exhaustion? I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, if you got a weak bladder, I understand, but at the same token, having the urge to use the bathroom is kind of better than passing out.
You'll often sweat it out anyways. So.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
very true.
And it like today, it doesn't even matter if it's like below freezing temperatures outside. Your body is going to do what your body does. So staying hydrated is #1. All right. So now after knowing your limits, one of the things that I found out that I didn't even think of to begin with, especially when I started performing, venue awareness.
Definitely, yeah.
Half the battle is just knowing where you need to be and when you need to be there. I've had several times now over the past couple years where I've showed up to the place where I thought I needed to be and then realized, oh wait, no, that's several blocks over this way. And I was in suit at the time, so I'm like, oh crap, I have to grab my amp and guitar and walk myself over there. So the sooner you can figure out the plan of where things are, when things are happening, that will help you definitely in the long run. But more about venue awareness is knowing how they're going to structure your performance. Even today, I've been doing this for a couple years now. Even today, I still have to do sound check. I still have to do going over my set list and things like that. It's a lot of prep time. And you need to communicate with the people that are running the event. And a lot of times you'll have volunteers that kind of switch out between staff members. So the person you set up with the day before probably might not be the same setup person that you meet the day after. And that was an interesting situation back at Indie FurCon where we had 2 different rehearsals for a talent show. And then finally the day of, none of the people involved except for the sound guy, even then, everyone was different people. So they had no idea what was going on. And while I was half in suit, I was running around on stage helping them plug stuff in 15 minutes after the show was supposed to start. So be prepared for delays, be prepared for dealing with people you haven't even talked to before, even after you've planned everything out. I don't know if you guys, especially Zephyr, has had any experiences with that kind of stuff.
Well, we have, but he wasn't part of it.
Oh!
Exactly. I've been a part of the band
If you want to come up, sure.
I've only been in the band for 2 months. This guy's been in for 2 years.
Yes.
And still the worst player.
Although I somehow played half their set lists in the
Well, don't
last half
say
year.
that.
As this is Cobalt from Zephyr,
Hello.
Hey! Round of applause, everybody.
bass player and operatic singer.
Oh, thank you. Well, essentially, last year at FE, things were kind of a little, shall we say, hectic. Not knocking on the sound crew or anything, they did everything that they could, but the main sound guy wasn't there at the time, and he had a prior engagement thing, he couldn't get out of it, totally understandable. Yeah, it really helps to know what you want and what you need to set up before you get on stage to do that stuff. For example, being a bass player is the best because you bring 1 instrument and you can usually DI, and then meanwhile these guys are setting up 672 pedals. So it's great. It works out wonderful. Or this guy, he has an entire drum kit.
Oh, see, that leaves you just more time to look up memes on your phone.
See, that's why I'm the media one. So like it works out, but you know.
Rehearsal too.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
Like my main suggestion is one, have everything where it's like ready to go. Like if you have cables that you need to set up, have your cables wrapped and ready to go. If you have your pedals in a separate space where you can just take them out and pop them in and that's it. Like do everything you can. Yeah. Like do as a musician and actually a sound engineer myself for 3 years now. The more prepared that you are, the happier we are because let me tell you, live sound is incredibly hard. Like, incredibly hard. I can't do it because I would jump off the tallest building in 10 seconds. I am staying very comfortably in my studio. But
yes.
Anything you can do, like especially for like the assistants, because a lot of them, especially conventions, are volunteers. Some of them don't even really know that terribly much about sound or about whatever you're doing. So it really helps to kind of give them as much help as you can just by setting yourself up before you get on there. And obviously, you get people like, I'm going to plug him here because he's great. Audie is like, Audie is the man, like big time.
Yes.
And he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. You tell him, hey, can you do this? Yeah, okay. And he gets it done. Absolutely nothing but nice things to say, and it's a privilege to get them, but don't expect it. You know what I mean? Like, because Audie's not always going to be there. You're not always going to get that guy. So it really helps to be prepared before you walk in.
Definitely.
As someone who's also spent a lot of time in teams, big and small, the more prepared you can be for unpreparedness.
Yes, exactly.
Like an unprepared.
Get ready for the problems to hit you in the face.
Yep. Yeah.
This is going to crap out, this may work. It's not to be pessimist, but it's more about preparation.
I think, going along with that, I'm kind of loud, but anyway, and going along with that, don't expect somebody to bring you water. Don't expect if you're who's gonna have water? Just bring it. Just do it yourself.
Yeah.
If you're afraid or you don't know who's doing it, no one's probably doing it. Probably do it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Being self-reliant is a big part of it. I know a lot of fursuiters have handlers and stuff like that, and more power to them for having that support group right there in case they need something. But a lot of the times, especially up on stage, you're not going to have a handler. Sure, unless you make your handler part of your act, which I've seen some people do it. It's a lot of independent stuff that you're just like, this is just me out here on my own. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Choo-choo. Yep, that's right. Another thing about venue awareness, the stage itself and the lighting. I know there's been a couple instances of fursuiters tripping and falling. Just trying to get around chairs. Increase that to 3 feet above the ground, and then you've got a hazard right in front of you. Basically, if you were to stand on this table, a fall from that could break an arm, a leg, bust a nose, dislocate a shoulder, anything like that. It really comes down to making sure you have good spatial recognition, good depth of field when you're in suit. And if you don't, then make sure you're careful about where you stand.
Know your venue.
Yes. Know your venue. Let's see. I know I actually had an instance last year at Indie FurCon where I was running another little concert. I actually had to stop halfway through a song because they had the room lights down all the way, and the stage lights were basically spotlights right in my eyes. And especially with this suit, I would like to think I have better visibility than most people, but a combination of the spotlights not having any ambient light in the room, I couldn't even see where the heck my hand was on my guitar. I mean, it's hard enough to see down past here, so I have to keep glancing where I'm looking, but the lights combination with the not lights in the room, I was like, hey, cut the music, I can't even finish this song. But luckily they brought up the house lights, they parted the spotlights away from my face a little bit, and then we restarted the song and everything worked out that way. not for better lack of my practice of blindfolded practice, because that would have helped.
And also, just on the note of having restarted performance as well, like I still see live performances of top musicians like getting a minute into a song and be like, nope, it's no good, we're gonna restart this. I mean, I remember seeing Tame Impala do it in a video recently, and it's like, wow, and they restarted it, and it was rock solid. It was great, so power to it. There's no shame in having to restart it.
It's a live performance. It's one of the thrills of it.
Yes.
Something you can do it live.
Do it live!
Happen live.
And that's the other thing. You have to know as a performer if it's worth restarting whatever you're doing. If you feel like you've flubbed beyond recovery, usually whoever's running the event will be like, okay, yeah, we can give you a restart on that. Like, catastrophic failure, things falling apart, you falling on your face, forgetting lyrics, stuff like that. I mean, people are usually pretty good about that.
I wasn't in suit for this one, but my very first song, my very first show with Zephyr, I was on someone else's kit. And at the end, the ride cymbal, like the biggest 21-inch cymbal, just went,
oh no!
Just went totally vertical. Whatever, still played it. It was a really short ring, whatever. Kept going, not a big deal. You do it live. You learn to improvise, you learn to manage with what you know you can do physically, etc. Just trying to bump over stuff.
Oh yeah, that reminds me, the first ever talent show I performed was actually right here, back when this convention was FCN still, Free Connection North. I can't remember exactly what year it was. Anyway, but my first ever talent show that was by myself, I started into the song REM by, Man on the Moon by REM. And two lines in, I'm like, I don't know these words. Oh crap. And like, I'm just like, oh my God, I forgot the lyrics. Everyone starts laughing. I start laughing because I'm like, oh, screw me. This was back when Bucktown Tiger was hosting the event. I'm like, hey, can you get the lyric sheet from my guitar case over there? And so he goes running off the stage, runs back up, and like, meanwhile, I'm just kind of sitting there like trying to remember the lyrics, and the crowd just starts going.
But I really like the honesty behind that situation. That's good. That's good. You're really upfront about it.
Yeah.
Pepper doesn't remember his lyrics, so.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We started a trend too. Like we own our mess ups. So when someone on stage was up,
like when I hit just one note of a song and stop, which I did during FB during I Forgot Her Name, I just went stop.
Yeah.
And then I had the whole crowd screaming, "You fucked up at me." It was really exhilarating.
Yes, I remember this.
I get the most of those. Don't you worry.
Oh man.
I have the luxury of having the backup when I'm at Anthrocon. When I mess up, they can usually cover. But when I march here for MCFC, I mess up a song, everyone's gonna hear it, and I just keep playing, just because I know that if I stop the song in the middle, people are gonna be like, "Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, where'd you stop?
Right? Why'd you stop?" Just keep going with it. If it's something small, minor. For me, a lot of my music comes from playing by ear or just memorization from playing songs over and over again off of Spotify. Pull up a song I like, listen to it a little bit, toss a couple of wrong notes here and there, and suddenly the song comes out of my saxophone.
Yeah.
But really all it comes down to is stop the song or stop whatever you're doing if you know that you can't recover from it or if you can easily pull off a recovery, just segue into something else. Like earlier, I was playing that one song by Kenny G, I guess. And then I segued right into the Lugia theme from Pokemon 2000. If I couldn't get the rest of it, it would just be repetitive. Just go with the flow, whatever the flow may be, even if it's a dam.
Yeah. I don't like perform live music, which is amazing. I can't even imagine how you guys even do that. I don't know. I couldn't even do it.
Animal magic.
I couldn't even. It just happened somehow.
Animal magic.
I was my college mascot, and there have been the feet for this mascot were just horrible. They were terrible feet. And like, I would run the flag every basketball game, like the very last flag that says Ball State. I'd run the last heat. literally a couple like weeks ago, I'm running across and the foot just decides like, bye, woo, and flies off. And like, there's nothing worse because there's no way you can like act about that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like it's like, oh crap. So I just ran over and like dropped the flag and just like really just laid into like I goofed up. So I like found the nearest exit and was like, oh no, and like ran away. And people loved it.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like what to me was like one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened in my life.
Exactly.
It was hilarious for everyone else. I'm like, well, at least everybody can laugh at me.
That's and you know what else I think is a really good tip for anyone that has like performance anxiety or stage fright, or is just really worried about trying to put on a good show. The main thing that I found that helped, well, of course, the first talent show I had, I screwed up and then I moved on.
Yeah.
But I found out that the best way you can look at it is rationally think. What is the worst thing that could possibly happen if you were to screw up?
Yeah.
Somehow, like especially at a con, you're not gonna get booed, you're not gonna get heckled, and certainly you're not gonna get kicked off the stage for screwing up.
Half of these people are drunk all the time anyway, so they think it's part of the song.
Exactly. But the other thing is that you could apply this to any stressful situation. Take it to the most extreme. Take it to the most extreme real possibility that something could turn out in a bad way. And once you rationalize that is the worst result, realize that you still exist after this mistake. You still exist after whatever this has happened. I mean, barring that the worst outcome is that you are violently hit by someone, which I seriously doubt anyone would run up on the stage and sucker punch. That's that's what I'm saying. Rationally take it to the worst place possible. And once you think about, hey, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, realize that hey, I'm still me, I'm still alive, I'm still functioning, I can do this. So that was when I had first screwed up my first song, I was like, well, crap, the worst thing that could possibly happen happened, and here I am finishing my song anyway. Woo! And that was a great learning experience, but it was basically tempered by fire, I guess.
Once you've acknowledged the worst, though, it only gets better
you in the
from
front.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, you in the front.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can say in my 10 years of performing, most of the time, people, even when you're doing songs that are really well known, most of the times people don't even realize that you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you messed up right away. It's like, oh, god damn it, just keep going. Just keep doing it, because
it's like if you do mess up, it's the biggest thing is just own your mistake.
Yeah.
A good example of owning your mistake would be Good Riddance by oh shoot, I'm blanking on
Green Day.
I'm really bad. I was listening to it this morning. Literally in the beginning of the song. Fuck.
Yeah. Have you seen the vine of dun?
Yes, I did. I've seen that one.
Pardon my language, I don't usually swear all the time.
I know, it's so nice that this is a 19 or 18 plus, right?
Something like
I
that.
believe so.
18
you
plus.
gotta have
It is,
an
yeah.
adult con.
Yeah.
Nobody's got us in trouble.
I'm an adult, I'm dressed as a dragon.
But, yeah, you were saying. Sorry.
No, it's fine, it's fine. I'm open for the discussion.
My train of thought went right through the side of my head and it's gone now.
Oh,
It's
okay.
gone.
I apologize, I have that.
That's alright.
What are we on time? I feel like, oh good, we're only halfway through, and I'm almost run out of stuff to talk to.
No, that's
Okay, so
I'm sure the
Bring me
panel.
on stage.
I know, you're my backup, man.
Right, bring me on stage, I'll never shut up. You're kicking me out like 4 o'clock.
It's a physical one. It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
We got you covered.
So, in your guys' experience, we've had your on-stage flub with the foot.
Yeah.
What was the one that you had mentioned?
Oh, where was my club? Oh, I have so many, it doesn't even...
Oh, well, see, yeah, well,
every
they
time,
happen. Yeah.
every time I march, there's a big blow. Every time.
Yeah.
I don't usually... I don't keep track anymore. But
Yeah.
the big thing for me is every time I make a mistake, it's almost like a present for me, I guess. I really leave
Yeah.
like that. because I know what I need to be ready for next time.
Yeah.
My first time marching at AC, I was too nervous. I over-prepared, and I took my entire case for my saxophone with me. A couple bottles of water. It's pretty heavy. Throughout the entire, however long, parade.
Oh God.
I took a nap afterwards. That was real nice. But
I think you had a late
after
coma.
that, I didn't take my case with me. I left it in a corner with one of the door side who usually keeps an eye on the room. And I always pull my water out of that. But after the parade, put the saxophone away, take it up to the room immediately. 'Cause I'm not gonna want to play afterwards. I will have been exhausted, and I'll just free suit usually.
Yeah.
Sorry, a lot of my performances end up at AC because that's where I do a lot of the actual playing of this.
Right. It's cool.
Oh,
What?
big subject.
Sure.
When you're performing in suit, not every instrument is suit friendly. Fun story. Okay. So listen, I was a young skunk. I decided I wanted to
When I was a young skunk.
my father took me like I was the only Okay, but real talk, I decided to play my instrument. This suit I have is the same suit I started in, and it doesn't have a moving jaw.
Yes.
Any suit I get after this to play instruments will have a moving jaw, because out of pure, unadulterated luck, my alto saxophone reaches just far enough inside for me to get a proper embouchure. This thing on the reed and the mouthpiece. No other instrument. I just recently purchased a soprano saxophone, little baby guys, like half the size of the saxophone. Looking forward to suiting with it. Realized that the soprano saxophone's neck looks like that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's not going into my suit. Not until I get a moving jaw.
Yeah. And
Not
that was another big topic that I actually wanted to cover. Was making your suits work with whatever instrument or props you might be having. As you can see, if you guys wanted to look at any of this stuff, this was my original glove that I had when I started a couple years ago playing guitar in suit. As you can see, it's got like holes that are cut out in the fingers where the hand would come through. And it was just these green noodles hanging off the back of my knuckles, just like flopping around every time I would play. So instead I decided to get these guitar gloves. The black part is actually a costume glove that I've cut the fingers off. As you can see, this is what it normally looks like. So you can repurpose a lot of stuff to work with as a costume. But this green bit underneath, this is actually a guitar glove made by a company from Canada, of all places. It's from a website called originalguitarfingers.com. Not sponsored, by the way, however, I would like to be. These guys are like $12 a pop, but honestly, the convenience of having this glove to play with, it's like amazing, because it's the difference between having my bare fingers out and just kind of, having partially broken the magic, as opposed to, keeping a consistent glow.
Leaking magic.
So Rashoni, did you make your own suit?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, it looks great. It really carries well with the wig and everything. Yeah, I'm not, like, this side note, I'm impressed. That's good stuff.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not expecting everyone to have the skills of a fursuit maker, especially when it comes to customizing your suit for performance purposes. Especially like you were saying, having a moving jaw is literally half the battle of being heard. Sure, it makes whoever's making the suit, go crazy trying to figure out how a face can fit and work with it. But it's the difference between, like you said, having the accessibility of your mouth and also being able to be heard.
Right.
Not to mention also your vision as well. I know Ketchup Kitty over here can attest to a suit of hers, which was her 1.0
Oh
suit.
goodness, yes.
She basically what the opposite of cross-eyed.
Yes.
Like she had vision that was out to here. Like she couldn't see through both eyes at the same time. She had
Nope.
to either look through one or look through the other.
Yep.
And it literally made her go like cross-eyed trying to see.
It was bad.
If you can find a maker that's really good on making visibility a priority, that's another huge part of performing.
Most definitely.
Like literally, the easier you can see on stage, it's like it makes everything a million times easier.
And this might be broken record for most fursuiters that tend to use full suits or thicker suits. Those cooling vests are a lifesaver. Really? I wish I had one because every time I finish March, I'm always steaming. It doesn't matter if it's minus however many Michigan degrees out there it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hot it is. I'm always baking. The heat just makes it worse.
Same way.
Plus you in the front.
when they got outside just then in the parade, like it felt like nothing happened. I felt like I was still inside. You know, just wearing a hoodie, you might even a full suit.
Actually,
Yeah.
it depends. Actually, I would say this and for you too because you're a bit of a smaller build individual.
Yes, he was talking to me about this last night.
Don't get a body armor. You will go into shock as soon as you take it off.
Yeah.
So I would suggest getting. There are wristbands.
Yeah,
that
the
you can get
wristbands are nice
on
too,
there.
and then
the neck one, even the
neck one.
be
I was
careful.
thinking about.
So if you guys haven't heard about this kind of stuff, there's actually cooling devices you can get for your suit, which are basically, they're kind of like flexible ice packs that you can put on your body. They help a lot. I haven't actually had the chance to try one out, but I know a couple friends of mine have them, and they do like really help. The only problem is you have to be really, really careful how you wear them. Like he was saying, I know, have any of you guys heard of Thabo Meerkat? Well, he was telling me about one time where he had this idea of putting an ice pack right on the back of his neck when he was out during the parade. And it seemed to work, like he wasn't overheating to his knowledge. But when he got back inside and finally took it off his neck, he almost went into shock.
Because you can't, it feels cold, it doesn't, like...
Yeah, like
your body is
putting it on the back of your neck is literally cutting off the signal to your brain that your body is overheating.
Mm-hmm.
So, taking that ice pack off the back of his neck, all of that hit his brain at once, and he nearly passed out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be really careful with that. Like he was saying, the best place to put it is on the wrists if you're a lighter fellow.
Yes.
But especially if you're a larger person, you can get away with the more full body suits and stuff like that because of the extra lining that
the Lord has.
It helps.
The
It helps me
Go for the punch.
personally to have a lot of medical and military family members, so I know exactly what my body can handle.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how. That's a story for another panel.
Okay.
Another panel.
Topsy.
Cooling devices are optional, but that's fine as long as you know your limits. You're pretty much good.
Yeah.
I guess really the only suggestion I have is that the thing you're using, your prop, I'm gonna call my baby a prop.
Yeah.
Don't
Instrument
listen to me,
prop.
I'm lying.
Yeah.
Your instrument, your prop it is part of your suit, but at the same time, not every instrument or prop is for you. I see people walking around with giant swirly lollipops around the pond, and I'm like, that's a little bit hazardous, especially if you don't know how tall the door is. Because if you're holding onto that thing and you walk through a door and you forget that you're holding onto this thing,
You will clothesline yourself.
You will clothesline yourself.
That video of that dude that was coming off of the rink and he had a stick like this.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep. It's always very, very good to know what you're holding and how it interacts with your suit.
Oh, definitely.
As a whole. I've never seen a flute player marching suit. Mainly, step number one, because not a lot of people play as business suits. Number two, that needs a specific angle, a specific rotation, and this, even with a moving jaw, that's almost impossible.
Yeah. Unless like the jaw goes like all the way back to right here.
Right.
You gotta,
Like you just unhinge your jaw like a
unhinge your
jaw, like a xenomorph.
Yeah.
Xenomorph. Maybe.
Chelsea smile.
The things I see, guitars and basses. I see trombonists. I see trumpeters, surprisingly enough.
That's a surprising.
Anything with a relatively straight mouthpiece or one that you can memorize fingerings.
Yeah.
Also very important. If you don't know your instrument, like the back of your hand, that's new. If you don't know the instrument like the back of your hand, don't bother playing in suit until you can play it blindfolded.
Yes.
It took me my entire saxophone career and just absolutely wonderful teaching. Shameless plug with my high school also. And the joy that comes out of playing your instrument just on a whim. Go home, I feel bored. I'm not gonna do video games, I wanna play my instrument.
Yeah.
And you'll sit there and play it. 1 hour passes, another. It's bedtime. Another hour passes. Now it's bedtime. Okay, one more song.
Yes, more for me. It's more like 3 hours past.
Right.
And it's bedtime like 5 hours ago.
Just the more in tune you are with what you want to do, and the fact that you want to share it with other people while you're in suit, even that's a requirement, I think.
Definitely.
Just sharing what you love with the people around you.
Yeah.
Very, very much a requirement.
Yeah. And I know a lot of this discussion is kind of centered around musicians specifically. I don't have much experience. I've never like done any sort of dancing. I've never done any sort of like skit that required acting or anything like that on stage. But a lot of the same rules apply to knowing the limits of yourself, knowing the limits of your costume, especially if you're going to be moving around a stage a lot. You have to be able, especially if you're trying to put on a really good performance, you have to know, like, practice in front of a mirror, realize what you look like in suit. Sure, you have to look down a bunch to make sure you're not going to step off a stage or make sure you have good footing. But as long as you can make those glances just like part of your movements, it becomes a lot less obvious that the person up on stage is like looking like he's walking a tightrope. You know what I mean? And
being comfortable with what you're doing is a super, super, super vital thing. We should have got Donut in here. He would have that cancer in place.
I do want to build on one last point that you made, just about being able to just like when you own your craft and you want to share it in a fursuit. I think at that point, it's okay to. I mean, we're going to hold ourselves as artists to a standard on our work, but as far as how the audience is perceiving a performance, I think it should be a much less of a concern. We already trust ourselves with our skill. We can do this in front of people. At that point, just whatever happens, happens. If you play Lugia and you play a few wrong notes, maybe people think you're improvising. Maybe people thought that's how it went, but you can't be caught up in that's just simply wrong. And then there it goes. So own it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have an idea, listen to it, and then respond.
And that's the other thing is that like I've been involved in talent shows and stuff, especially at conventions where people will literally make up something on the spot, having not practiced at all.
I wanted to do that at FE this year.
Well, see, if you're good at improv, do improv, like by all means. But there are some people that I've run into that they think they know improv, but they have no idea what they're doing. And I've seen people just kind of stumble through a talent show submission, and people like they're done, they bow, they walk off the stage, and everyone's like, what the heck was that? You know, like. I think you owe it enough if you're going to be putting yourself on stage. At least know what you're doing beforehand, or at least practice your improv if you're planning on improving.
I think really, I want to go back really quick. Sorry. Go back to the acting on stage and stuff. I think one of the biggest things to remember, like when you're in suit, is that most likely someone's watching you, which is kind of like scary, but at the same time, like. I always try to stay in character, like, all the time.
Right.
Like, if I'm just sitting here, I'm like, okay, do, I'm still ad-lib. Like, you know, like, I always try to stay in character. So, like, there's nothing worse than, like, Like somebody who you can tell is like, ha ha ha, no, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just, I always, you know, like when you're acting, you know, always try to stay in your character, stay true to your character. And you can, obviously, you need to go take a break, like,
Yeah.
you know, go somewhere, but like, really, you know, try to stay in character all the time.
Now, see, that's interesting you bring that up because there's two different camps of thought with that. There's the one where you have an entire personality, an entire way of movement, an entire way of talking in suit that may not be anything like what you might be out of suit. Which is perfectly, like, by all means, if you want to reinvent yourself through your fursuit, go ahead and do it. That is like half the reason for it.
Yep.
But one thing that I made sure to do, especially with this character and with, you know, what I do up on stage, like this is me. I don't really act differently out of suit than I do in suit. Like I try to be as genuine as possible. I'm not gonna be coming up to someone like, hey man, I'm a freaking rock and roll dragon. Like, no, that's
We're gonna be.
no.
Yeah.
That's like don't get me wrong, I have total respect for putting on a character like that, but I know me, I know my limits. I could not maintain that.
And that's your character.
Yeah.
Like essentially, I mean, you are your character, something like that, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
You're still living true to the character that you have created.
Right.
Definitely. Shoot, I had another thing that was going on, but I know that.
We're going to another place here. I'm not playing.
Be flexible. I think that's
We're actually pretty good on time. We still got like 15 minutes.
dang.
Maybe a question round?
Yes!
Ooh,
yes,
yeah.
definitely. If there's anyone in the audience that might have a question or a topic to bring up, this is open discussion if you'd like to talk about anything. Anyone that might be interested in possibly doing a talent show or performance in the future, by all means, ask us anything.
Maybe you're nervous and you want some advice or something.
If you're not comfortable talking about it in like an open forum like this, you can approach us afterwards at any time, and we'll talk to you in person if you want. Yes, Cobalt.
But body language in suits because your face doesn't do any expression.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Very true.
Oh, when I first started shooting, the fun stories. I would look like Charlie Brown, just kind of derping along. Nowadays, I exaggerate every movement, especially when I'm playing my saxophone, or even when I'm not. If I wave to someone, I'll draw it out. I'll make it. Really
Yeah, you have to exaggerate
extravagant.
more than what you would
And
normally.
I feel like the fursuit just accentuates that. Makes it so much cooler, I think.
Yeah.
That's why I love suiting, so.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You have to remember your suit is bigger than you are, so your movements need to be bigger than you yourself. You are, you know, in a suit, and it doesn't move the same way that your normal body does.
Right. Exactly.
Unless you're already like a naturally animated person like Adler over here.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to exaggerate barely at all.
And then you can already like, hello! Yeah, right there. So
That's the point when you become a human wrecking ball.
all cameras all the time.
Oh god, no crowd killing at a furry con.
Right.
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
a story for Kage and the rest of the war stories, right?
Oh jeez, I
Oh
don't know.
boy, that's fun. No questions? Oh, so
Yes, in the back there.
So this is just more of a technical question.
Sure.
This panel, I can hear all of you very clearly without muffled distortion.
Wow.
How are you doing that without like feedback in your mic system?
Big mouth, diaphragm speaking.
yeah.
There you go.
I'm a loud bird.
Honestly, I don't know who set this room up,
Okay.
so they would have the answers.
Okay.
But as far as like, well, part of the reason that you get feedback is because the sound is bouncing back through the microphone. We're behind the PA speakers, so that's half the reason. Once you get in front of a speaker and you have a signal that's going through the mic, out to the system, through the sound system, and back through the speaker, that's exactly what feedback is.
Yep.
Let's see. But yeah, I've had instances where up on stage, like in the main events room, they'll have monitors that are at the front of the stage so that the performers can hear what's going on. Sometimes you have to compensate, making sure you don't get too close to those. Because once you get a microphone closer to the PA, it'll start feedbacking on its own. There's really, unless you have some really good software to counteract that, It's it's like blow a speaker out.
I have the habit of cupping my mic as well.
Bad.
Sorry, it's just how I go.
I mean, I know you need to be heard a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
but
really close.
Cupping the mic is a cardinal sin when it comes to vocals. Because if you do this, it cuts out the definition of your voice.
Yeah, I'm just really quiet, so it kind of works out in my favor. When I record the podcast, he does it open.
Yeah.
He's real good about it. He's got a pop filter and everything. He's real fancy. He hasn't recorded a single thing because he has to sound treat his room.
Oh no.
Bass number one thing if you want to soundproof your sound treat. Sorry, he's gonna kill me if he found out I called it soundproofing. Sound treating your room. Start with bass traps in the corners. If you want to sound treat a room, only bass traps. If you can only afford one thing.
Yeah.
Don't just grab eggshell foam and stick it on the wall. You're gonna get that weird bass.
Oh, like me.
Yeah, don't do that.
I've really done that.
Cardinal sin.
Okay.
No, but seriously, like
Living room.
big, deep. It doesn't even have to be like foam. They have like you could probably get thin plastic panels and just cover up those corners because it'll catch that bass resonance in there and trap that so that you can get that clearer tone there.
Before I forget, really quick, the whole art of using a microphone in suits. Especially with mine, I know I kind of lucked out with my design. I have a very wide open mouth, so I have a very functional range where this microphone will still pick me up. But as opposed to like your mouth is a lot tinier, a lot closed in the stacked jaw.
So I tend to hold my mic right here on the corners of the mouth.
Yeah.
So if I talk left,
And especially now we've got underbite over here. If you want us to put it in his mouth.
Like, he has to eat the whole thing.
Yeah. Now, they're also, especially if you're working with the more high-end audio equipment guys that especially attend these conventions, a lot of the time you can get away with a wireless microphone that sometimes they will have available. If you plan on doing this kind of stuff in suit, and you know that a microphone isn't really your best option, they can hook you up with a wireless mic that will fit inside your mask. I've had them actually do it for me a couple times, and it takes like a lot of the guesswork out of like, where the heck is my face, as opposed to like bumping the microphone when I'm trying to look for it. It's no guarantee that you'll get this equipment because it's expensive equipment and they only have like limited numbers of them. But if you were to contact any convention you plan on performing at in suit and ask the audio team or the people in charge if you can request them to rent one for the convention, that is an awesome option. I would highly suggest that. Let's see. Not all fursuits can accommodate the wireless kit. So it also matters if you have just a little open pocket next to your face to fit it. If you have a very enclosed head, if you have a very tight fit head, the wireless mic may not work for you. So it's a lot of planning just into your fursuit that you have to think about, just being able to be heard, let alone being able to see out of the dang thing.
He just wants to feel like he's in the CIA. Hello? Yes. We have the package. That's how it is.
These are all design things that you need to consider with your fursuit. I mean, these are all problems that got to be solved before you even begin making your suit.
Yeah.
Hi.
Would you like this? I'm going to need this thing.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm good with the microphone.
Don't drop the mic, they're not expensive.
However, the table made a really good point.
I'm an artist. I don't do this.
Oh man.
I just make noise. I don't control it.
Right.
Well, is there anything else that you guys can think of that you'd like to bring up, or anything else in the audience that you guys would like to know about performing in suit? We are basically down to like the last couple minutes of the panel.
Citrine, do you have anything to say?
Jeez, I totally forgot. Oh my God, pass the mic down to him. Pass the mic down to him.
Yes, he's there.
Yeah.
Here, I want to hear from Mike.
Yes. We have Citrine Husky. Please, I would love for you to add into the discussion about, especially performing on stage, not just in Fursuit, but also with your particular handicap as well.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm legally blind. I have absolutely no vision in my left eye, and then I have 2400 on my right eye. So, basically half Fursuit vision and then half of that. So I use a few unique techniques on stage. Obviously, straight up, I can't tell, I can't assume what I look like and try to manage that, stage performance. There's no way of looking in the mirror and being like, okay, I just have to assume that, okay, this doesn't look terrible. He's not falling over, that's a plus. So he's not tripping over anything, so that's a plus. So I try to make that my main priority. So if you ever catch me, if I possibly can, I attend conventions and I get here on Sunday night. And the reason is because I will go into the rooms that I know that I'm going to be doing a panel or performing in.
Thursday night?
And yeah, Thursday night. Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
I'll get here late. I'll get here like almost a week early, like like Anthrocon.
Gotta really check it out.
But anyway, on Thursday nights, and what I'll do is I'll go, especially like to main events and things like that, where there is a stage. I will memorize what door I'm gonna go in and know roughly how many steps. For me, it is from there to the stage. So I have to map it out in my mind, and I will go, like for main events, I know that for me, it takes me 19 steps to get from the top of the stairs to the end, and if I go that far, then there's gonna be stairs right across. I know that it takes me only 7 steps to get from the far back of the stage all the way to the front, and then I'll fall off. So that way I can kind of memorize, okay, when I do a song with him later today, I'll know that, okay, I can, walk about 7 or 8 steps, and I know that I'm about mid-range. So I have to kind of map it out in my mind since I have no visual preference on that.
That's gonna be a lot of concentration throughout everything.
I was gonna say, and to do that and also
and play, that's insane.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the other issue for me. I know how to read music, but I prefer to learn by ear. It's just a lot easier, a lot less issue. So I tend to listen to the music and then memorize it. I have forgotten the lyrics before. And
oh shoot, I forgot the lyrics last night performing with him.
There's no lyric sheet, it's just, you
Bad
know what
boys.
happened. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I tend to do things on stage.
You're awesome, man. Awesome.
I want to applaud you. And I'm so sorry. I was like, there's someone here.
Well, no, it's fine. I don't,
See? No peripheral vision in these things.
No,
so you gotta,
no, that's fine. It's like I feel most at home here. It's like these people are sort of like me. Yay!
I feel like I forgot to close the trunk on my car when I got the saxophone out.
Whoops.
Random thoughts.
All right, so I guess to wrap up this panel, like I said, if anyone has any last minute questions, we'll still be answering them. But just before we do that, Citrine, would you like to plug your Twitter or YouTube channel?
So I am Citrine Husky on YouTube. Only have 3 videos. They're all unboxings, but yeah, getting my channel off the ground right now. So getting close to 500. So I mean, and then Twitter, obviously, Citrine Husky as well. Both of them. There's only. I'm pretty sure I'm the only blind furry YouTuber and Twitter person. I think.
I mean, so, first one I've heard of.
Not that
same.
So if you see, a blind YouTuber or blind furry, then that's probably me.
All right, so now Adler, you go ahead and plug yourself.
Yeah, okay, so my Twitter is Adler_the_eagle. I do animations and kind of suit videos, but more animations than I do suit videos right now. And then I also have YouTube, and it's Adler the Eagle also on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find.
Good stuff.
That's kind of what I do. I'm definitely more, I do animations, and then through that, like, I also know how to act.
Yay!
There was the 2 latest videos you made, one where you did a green screen of you.
There was no green screen.
Oh yeah, no, you were on a roller coaster.
Yeah, I actually went and rode the real roller coaster. There were no green screens involved with that.
Right, yeah.
Not at all. It wasn't a trick.
Yeah, they have lawn chairs on roller coasters.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It was a comfortable seat.
And the other video you had was the video where you were telling the story of you getting stuck in the window.
Yeah.
Go check out his YouTube channel. He's awesome. He's a great animator and he's hilarious. All right, so Underbite, represent for Zephyr.
Hello.
Hi. Oh no.
Yeah, so I play drums. I like to play.
Yay, drums!
Now those are actually the sticks that I've modified to play in suit, so like, we get a, yeah.
I'm not into nylon tips, but anyway, I play drums for Zephyr, and you can catch us performing tonight with the lovely Fursuiting.
Woo!
And Fox and Pepper, most myself and Turi will be playing their entire sets today. We've only been cramming for it all week. And so you should check it out tonight at 6 to 8:30. I am also an artist, illustrator, graphic designer myself. You can find me on Twitter at Underbite Dragon. And I also create artwork for the YouTube channel Culturally Effed, which is still pumping out videos, mockumentaries, if you will. Talking heads talking about the history of furry, and now we're talking about fursuit history. Latest episode, you can catch me talking about it.
Nice.
By all means. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. I've got mine. Thank you.
Keep yours.
Oh, well, yeah, dueling mics. Yeah. Yes, so I am Rashoni, the Rock and Roll Dragon, and I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and let's see, I have a performance tomorrow night, tonight. Wow. Whoa, I am that far gone right now. No, I have a performance at 6 p.m. at Main Events. You sure do. And then I'll be doing a couple songs with these guys at the end of their set as well. I have a YouTube channel that is literally called The Rock and Roll Dragon. Same thing with my Twitter. With Twitter, it's one word though. And I'm just about almost to 1,000 subscribers. And if you guys have heard, YouTube changed their policy about monetization. You have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and at least like a certain number of watch hours, like per month or per year, to even qualify for monetization. I would love to, you know, who wouldn't want to quit their job and do YouTube? But
I never thought of that.
But yeah, if you guys would like to share around my information, I actually have some business cards attached to that amplifier over there, a little case on the top if you want to go and grab one. If you would like to spread the word about the Rock and Roll Dragon, that would be amazing. I'm trying to put myself out at more conventions, more events and stuff like that. I am actually, surprisingly, guest of honor at Fur Reality in Ohio. Thank you for that. It's my first ever chance, like being fully invited as a guest of honor to a convention, and I hope to put on another good show come October.
Gonna kill
it. All right, so now we have you, the last guy.
I'm on recording. Don't mind me. Hi, I'm Tech the Skunk. You can find me on Twitter at Shy Skunk Shaman. And,
Shy Skunk Shaman?
Yep.
Shy Skunk Shaman. That is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, indeed. I don't post often because I'm kind of bad about it, but
same.
I'm gonna try. For you people, I'll try. I'm currently trying to get my room sound treated so I can do some recording and maybe practice better because I'm bad.
Yeah.
Like these guys, top tier. Me, trash tier. Keep looking down. Once you can't look down any further, look down a little further.
I'm not
Hey, this is not a self-deprecation panel.
No, but I do my best.
I find all creators eye to eye. You know, we're all doing something. We're all doing our best. You know, you can't prove a damn thing. Just go out and look.
Yep, definitely. Well, thank you guys for attending the panel. Really appreciate you guys coming out.
If you flag us down, ask us questions if you wanted to do one-on-ones. I gotta go check to see if my truck's open. Thanks for having me, Raj.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you again to Adler the Eagle, Citron Husky, and Underbite Dragon.
Woo!